Welcome to the Station Wagon. I'm the older brother, Marc.
And I'm little sister Julie. This is the podcast where my brother and I give up something we take for granted and tell you how it goes.
Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
How's it going?
Good. Oh, hi, all the listeners out there.
Oh, didn't notice you there. Come on in.
In this episode of the Station Wagon, we're going to be...
saving lives.
Well, maybe so. We'll become safer drivers, that's for certain.
Yes, depending on the definition of safe driving.
Right. So basically what we're talking about is not being a distracted driver. That's one big component of it. And then basically following two other laws, I guess you'd say, called... Well, I shouldn't be. I don't know why I'm laughing at that.
Interesting word.
Right.
Laws.
Let me just pick that word randomly. Laws.
I like how you coin new words whenever you feel like it.
I know. So one is that we're going to be not following too closely. We're going to use the 2-second rule, and we can talk more about that later. And then we're also going to try to not exceed the speed limit whenever possible.
Okay, I have two other additions that Jason, my beloved husband, wanted me to add. And if you want, right, you can add these just to mine.
Okay. What are they?
Not driving over curbs.
Oh my God. I don't drive over curbs now. I'm a good driver. I'm an excellent driver.
I have a very good driving record. We should both talk about that. But I do have a habit of turning into the curb and hitting it. And in like the last 10 years, I've caused several $1,000s worth of damage.
Oh boy.
Due to that habit. Also, apparently, I never knew I do this, but Jason said I do it along with others. If I'm taking a left-hand turn, instead of going into the far right-hand lane on the next road, turning into the left-hand lane. And actually, I don't even remember what. It was something really picky. Never mind. Sorry, Jace. I'll do the curb thing. I forget your weird turning thing.
That's good. Yeah, too many restrictions on this one are just going to cause us to be aggrieved.
Right. And we don't want to be too distracted by like, you know, hey, what lane am I in?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
Come on, I'm only human.
Yeah, exactly. So basically that's it. We're not going to be distracted by not touching our cell phones, and we'll get into all the details later. But yeah, and the 2-second rule and not driving over the speed limit when possible.
Okay, I also have a caveat about the 2-second rule, but should I hold it?
Yeah, I'll hold it for later when we talk about the details of what we're going to do. Let's get into the quiz now.
Hold it. I'm an expert on the holding it dance.
Very good. Are you ready for the quiz?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to win this one because, like I said, I have a totally clean driving record.
This is not a competition, Julie.
It is.
Question number 1. On roads with more than 2 lanes traveling in the same direction, you should choose the one that applies. Speed up and not allow anyone to pass you when traveling in the right lane. Use the middle lane for slower speeds. Use the left lane for passing only, or none of the above.
Okay, it depends who you ask.
What? There is no depends.
Okay,
and this is in the United
left
States.
Lane for passing only.
That's right. Good job.
See, this is another problem with my driving. I like to stay in the middle lane and just like stay there the whole time and just go the same speed. Oh, and apparently that's not good. I'm supposed to be in the far right hand.
Oh yeah,
lane.
Totally. Yeah, when my family and I went to Germany last year to visit my brother-in-law and his wife and kids, I got to drive on the Autobahn.
Woo!
That was pretty cool because I was going fast, and then these giant Mercedes would just come right up behind me, and basically everybody knows that when the big car comes up really close behind you, you move over to the right.
Isn't that when you're supposed to slow down to annoy them into passing you?
Well, in the States, yeah. And in the States also, that slow driver is always in the left. I'm sorry, I digress. I'm getting into my pet peeves. Okay. Number 2. What should you never do in a box junction?
Rip out the vampire's junction.
No. In a box junction, you should never enter it unless your exit is clear.
Okay. So for everybody else who's wondering why I started laughing and talking about vampires, we'll put a link to the Young Ones clip.
Right.
But it's a great TV show.
Yep.
We might have mentioned it once or twice.
That's right. Exactly. You are on a 2-way street, stopped at an intersection. Can you legally turn left on a red light into a one-way street?
Oh, wait, what? Wait, again? What? Can you say it from the beginning?
Yeah, but hold on a second.
No. True. False. Wait. Okay. I'm on a two-way street. Can I turn left?
Yeah, I didn't write down which one was correct. Give me a sec. Hold on. Shush. All right, Julie. So I didn't write down which one was correct here. So
You are a dork.
I'm thinking that it is letter B. Yes, if traffic allows, unless prohibited.
That sounds great.
Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah.
So if somebody's listening and knows that's wrong, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start doing this in real traffic.
You shouldn't.
Number 4. Do have a fourth one for you.
Awesome.
Since that number 3 kind of stunk. What percentage of fatalities on Washington's roads were caused by distracted driving between 2008 and 2012? And it's multiple choice. Hold on.
It's just Washington State.
Just
presumably.
Right. What percentage of fatalities on Washington State's roads were caused by distracted driving between 2008 and 2012? 5%, 12%, 20%, or 40%?
I'll go with 40%.
It was 20%.
Okay.
Yeah, but
a lot. That's still 1 in 5.
Right. So 1 in 5 fatalities on our roads in that time period was due to distracted driving.
What's the rest? Bears?
Water buffalo.
Okay.
So crazy. So we are going to save lives in this because we're going to role model what we're doing with everybody we know. And then all those unsafe drivers out there of people that we know, because the people that we know wouldn't actually be unsafe drivers because they're perfect in practically every way. But their friends are various riffraff.
Right. Riffraff. Always drive fast.
Exactly. Or too close or distractedly.
Right.
Hey, Julie, so that was the quiz. You missed the last one. You missed number 3. You missed number 2. And actually, you missed number 1, too.
This is pretty much the worst I've ever done.
I think it is. And because that 4th one was in there, too, which it was weighted 50% of the whole quiz, you did awful.
So this doesn't bode well for me.
No, it does not bode well.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to go into history?
I do. It just occurred to me we didn't even talk about speeding. We're not going to speed, right?
Oh, we've talked about that several times.
Did we? I mean, did you say earlier that's also what we're going to do?
Yeah, I said earlier we're going to not exceed the speed.
Okay, yeah. Just checking. I thought you were just focusing on the distractedness.
No,
Okay.
Listen to the roll later. You'll hear.
Okay. I got it all on tape.
All right. History.
Yay!
1652. What?
Automobiles were very safe.
And this is all American history, by the way.
Okay.
It was the very first traffic law was enacted.
Oh, okay.
And it was the colony of New Amsterdam issued a decree that, and this is great, no wagons, carts, or sleighs shall be run, rode, or driven at a gallop. And it was at the risk of incurring a fine starting at £2 Flemish.
Oh my gosh. I can just imagine people arguing. It wasn't a gallop, it was a canter.
Right? I don't even know what those words mean.
They're horse stuff.
Words. Yeah,
they're horsey. Yeah.
Horsey words. I'll have to ask Gaylord about that.
Yep.
1901, Connecticut enacts the first automobile speed limit law. It was the very first state to do so. For extra credit, Julie, can you tell me what the speed limit was in the city and what it was in the country?
In the city, 10 miles per hour. In the country, 15.
Wow. Is that your final guess?
Yes.
I guess that was your only guess. It was 12 miles per hour in the city and 15 in the country. Amazing. How did you know that?
I was just guessing.
Really?
Yes, because I'm so intuitively smart for the 1900s.
Very good. Early 1970s, that was when President Nixon, actually 1974, signed a national speed limit law of 55 miles per hour. And it was due to fuel prices rising. And so it wasn't
for safety. It was like, hey, let's not burn so much fuel.
Correct.
Whoa. And you said nationwide.
It was a nationwide rule. That's right. Nationwide law.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if the states' rights people were like, no way.
Maybe. I don't know. Oh, you know what? It was also for safety. Of course it was.
And really painting Nixon with a broad brush here.
Yeah, I know.
That was your birth president, dude. Have some respect.
Right. So these measures led to a reduction in the national traffic fatality rate. It dropped from 4.28 per million miles of travel in 72 to 3.3 million
That
in
okay.
1974.
So, like, if you got to be one of the like public economists who studies this stuff, it's
Yeah.
so interesting because you can really price out, like, for every mile per hour, what is the cost and fatalities and all this
Right,
stuff.
sure.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah,
Data,
that
sexy
is fascinating. You could go and use a good visualization tool to see what that looks like.
Hmm.
1987, Congress allowed states to increase speed limits on rural interstates to 65 miles an hour. So that was a state law thing.
From the 74 to 86, everything in
87,
the
yeah.
entire nation, the the highest speed limit would be 55.
Right.
Wow, so it's really recent. Well, I guess it's not that recent. It feels
No.
recent to me
Do you want to
because
do
we were
math?
alive. No, I mean, so it's just been in the last 30 years or so that there's been these variable speed limits all around.
Right. So
Huh.
2016 minus 1987, isn't that 19 years?
Um,
It's 29 years. My bad. So you were right. Yeah, in the last 30 years or so. Good job.
thanks.
You're welcome. Sorry.
The reason I'm laughing so much is because I was thinking, oh man, I got that wrong. I don't know how to subtract. I wasn't laughing at your lack of math. Okay.
Okay, so in 1995, the National Highway System repealed the maximum speed limit, and it basically returned the setting of speed limits to the states, and many soon raised the speed limit to 70 miles an hour, and some didn't even include a speed limit at all.
Really? I didn't. Is that still a thing? Are there some states?
Yeah, it's still a thing. I don't know which states do it. Probably the state with the
Utah.
with the bloodiest roads.
Montana.
Montana. 2010, Washington's cell phone law went into effect to reduce distracted driving.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and do you know what that cell phone law says?
Pray tell.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me.
And while we're waiting, shout out to our listeners in Zambia. Who, I mean, just hang in there with us while you have to hear about Washington state cell phone laws. Because we do have listeners in Zambia.
Right.
I was looking at our metrics today. Hi.
So RCW 46.61.667 says that you can use your phone in hands-free.
Podcasting.
Good podcasting. You can use your phone in hands-free mode. It's interesting, right? You just can't hold it up to your head.
All right.
And you can't text either.
Right. Good. Very good.
Oh, yeah, because it also says specifically you can't send, read, or write text message when even when stopped. So you can't get it out. Oh, 2014, I get my only first pair of Bluetooth headphones, and it makes my life driving so much easier because I can do it hands-free.
But do you wear them when you're not in your car and look like a
That's not child-friendly. You got to change that.
And look like a dork, Mark?
No, I look totally awesome with my tech wear.
Okay, cool.
2016, our puppy Pebbles learns to leave it after practically no training because genius dog.
We need to change the name of this to Puppycast.
Puppycast. Puppies, 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 puppies. Did you ever hear that? All right.
Can I go into science?
Julie, please, do you have... So that was history.
Yay, history onto sciencey stuff. I have some good ones.
Oh,
okay.
Good. That's so much better than the crappy ones you usually give us.
It's all about stereotypes today, okay? So, first of all, road rage.
Yeah.
Who do you think, stereotype-wise, is most subject to road rage?
Road rage, Kendra.
Is she really? Your dear wife?
Yeah. She vents. Well, it's actually pretty cool because she vents at the right person instead of compressing it into a tight, bitter ball and making it explode at me and the rest of the family.
Well, she has none. I'll give you a hint here. She has none of the demographic characteristics that are in this list of the people who are most subject to road rage.
Well, that's super interesting. Is it possibly middle-aged white men?
It's males.
Yeah.
Yes. The youth in general. So younger people tend to be more subject to road rage than older folks.
Okay, because they carry guns more often?
Maybe. I mean, it's also people who are more angry. I was about to say pathologically, but I meant more like trait anger. Remember when we talked about trait versus state? Trait is when you're just generally pretty easy to anger. State anger is you're just angry in that one moment because something particular happened.
Got it.
So people who are more trait angry.
Yeah.
So maybe younger people, they have more testosterone, they're more angry. And churchgoers.
What?
So I know this is weird. It's one of those
Before or after church?
Just people who go to church a lot.
Huh?
So this is just spurious. It's one of those studies that's a cute little example of why correlation does not equal causation, everybody.
Right.
Because people who go to church are correlated with having terrible road rage, but it's because of a third variable. Churchgoers who are very ambitious, who have high expectations, and for some reason who work in sales tend to have road rage. So it just happens to be that those groups all cross over in the big Venn diagram of angry driving.
Awesome.
Okay, more stereotypes. What country is worst at driving?
Is this multiple choice?
Nope.
You mean worse, like in terms of the number of accidents?
Road rage. I'm sorry. In terms of road rage.
United States.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but 98.7%, so nearly 100% of Sri Lankans indicate they've been victims of road rage.
Oh, brother.
And this one's really astounding. 85% admit perpetrating road rage. And these are the people who admit it.
Right.
So 85% of people are like, oh, yeah.
Well, how are we defining road rage? Can you just define that for us?
I don't have like a technical definition.
Oh, okay. Well,
now,
like
but
Kendra,
I would
when
say,
she explodes, she just curses a few times, maybe growls under her breath, yells at the car.
Worse than that.
Yeah. So how are you defining?
Aggressive actions at another driver while driving. So
it's what Kendra does, just road complaining.
I think so, unless she is waving her hands to the point where it's going to be distracting the other driver, or she's trying to get their attention and point at them aggressively. Or
point aggressively. Got it.
Well, I mean,
check.
to the point where... So if they're in their rear view, or if she pulls up next to them and gives them dirty looks and points at them, or if she deliberately drives around them and then gets in front of them and slows down.
Right.
So
like doing
has to have
proactive, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I can totally picture Kendra driving up next to some car and pointing her finger angrily at the car while saying, "You dirty, rotten driver, you."
Kendra, if you want a rebuttal, please let us know.
Yep.
Okay, more stereotypes. Oh, actually, this one's not a stereotype. We'll take a break from stereotypes. Okay, let's talk about speeding. Okay. First of all, I want to know you in general. How much do you speed?
Well, can we get in trouble for telling the truth in this podcast? Like if a police officer listens to it?
No, I assure you. Just kidding. You probably could.
What?
Go ahead.
Come on.
No, not for this. I mean, if you indicated a plan for harming another human, I'm a mandated reporter.
No, but if somebody listened to this.
No, if you say okay, I'll go first. I tend to speed about 10 miles an hour.
Just because you go first doesn't mean that it's legal to talk about it.
I just wanted to set a bad role model. I want to set a bad example for you.
I'll go first. You asked me the question.
Okay, Mark.
Yeah, so I do speed, but I only do it because it feels awesome.
Well, in that case, that's totally legal.
Right.
How much do you speed? I mean, do you have a typical amount?
No, it kind of just depends on the area I'm in. So on I-90 heading west or east towards Snoqualmie, the speed limit is already 70. And to keep up with traffic or to make them feel bad, you need to go 75, 80,
Well, that's a really good point about keeping up with traffic. I mean, there is the incident, I don't know when it was, maybe the mid-'80s, when a group of people decided we're sick of people speeding. We're all going to go 55 and we'll drive in a straight lane, or we'll drive in a straight line across the highway.
Oh, man.
And did you hear about this?
No.
You should look it up. History, dude. And it ended up causing huge amounts of traffic jams. And it was terrible. And the police had to actually stop them from going the speed limit in this straight line and not allowing people to pass them.
Oh, man. That is awesome. I have to look that up. You're right.
Yes. Okay, so
you definitely have to, you've got to keep up with traffic. In fact, the driver's manual for Washington State says that it's unsafe to drive too fast and to drive too slow, but that you
Right.
have to keep up with traffic.
So let's get back to that in 2 weeks too, to figure out. I mean, it's possible that going the speed limit could be actually dangerous. Well, maybe.
Totally.
Okay.
No, I mean, it depends. If everybody's going the speed limit, then no, it's not dangerous. But if everyone's going 5 over, 10 over, and you're going the speed limit, somebody could very easily rear end you or something. There could be a lot of mayhem.
Okay. Well, anyway, I tend to, on the highways, go up to 10 miles an hour over.
So what determines what you're doing?
Well, I almost always go 10 miles an
Oh,
hour
you just have.
on the
Great.
highway, unless I'm like just getting onto the highway and have to
Okay.
speed up to it. And like I said, it annoys Jason to no end. I go in the middle lane, I go 10 miles an hour over, and I just stay there and make everyone else go around me.
Oh man, that is so weird. Why do you do that?
Because I don't want to have to move over for all the people who are coming in off the turn lanes. But I never realized that was bad till he mentioned it before this episode. And when I've been talking to other people, they've been mentioning that as a pet peeve. This thing I do. I never
Right.
knew it was. I knew it was annoying to the people who had to drive around me and
Right.
piss me off.
Sure. Yeah, totally annoying.
Anyway, now I
Didn't
know.
all the birds sent at you like make you clue in on what you were doing wrong?
When you just said birds, even though I had just talked about middle fingers or flicking off, I totally thought you meant owls because I have Harry Potter on the brain. 'Cause
Oh, God.
we're very into Harry Potter
Uh-huh.
land now that I have a 9-year-old. How much time do you think people actually save by speeding?
0.
On average, 26 seconds a day.
Whoa, that's
So,
totally
like-
worth it. Oh, that's not where you were going with that?
No. Or
Oh.
2 minutes a week. It's like nothing. Yeah, it is pretty
nothing.
much zero.
So,
More-
Julie, do you want
yeah,
to talk about
no, more stereotypes. What groups are bad drivers?
what groups are bad in terms of road rage?
No, just being not very good drivers due to being. And
Young males.
This is based on all the literature I read, so including
Drunk
distracted
people.
driving. Okay, drunk people, yes, people on drugs, alcohol, young drivers. Who else?
People who are using cell phones.
Oh, well, yeah, but who are the
Texting.
people who are using? Those aren't people.
Everybody.
Okay, so the elderly also, because reaction time slows down as we get older. People with antisocial personality disorder.
Because they're trying to hit everybody.
Well, they probably don't really think of everyone else's safety as that important.
Oh, geez.
People with borderline personality.
Okay, now hold on a second. Based on like the overall, like how many of these groups get into accidents, what's the ratio?
I don't
Because those other groups are probably such a small
Oh yeah, there's
segment.
not very many.
Then why are you bringing it up?
It's interesting, but there's one group that both you and I fall into, dude.
Parents,
Yes, parents of children under 12.
because we're so distracted. They
Exactly.
are the worst to drive with. Absolute worst.
They are the worst.
And
I cannot tell you how many times I've like leaned back to pull a pacifier off the ground, lick it, and stick it in a kid's crying mouth. To get them.
God. Right. While
and
you're
he's-
driving in the middle of the lane, making everybody go slow. I bet you're weaving back and forth too.
At least I'm slow weaving.
Nice. Yeah.
And parents of children under 12 are terrible for so many reasons. And some of it was distractedness due to cell phone usage, like everyone else in the world. But most of it was just talking to their kids, dealing with them, grabbing the Barbie from the floor and handing it to your kid.
Right.
All these different things. So everything that we've mentioned here, I just have a few suggestions for us.
Go ahead.
If you are getting into your car late, instead of speeding, just take a minute to come to terms with the fact that you're going to be late. So don't kill people on the way.
Very good.
Don't do drugs or be sleepy. If you are already sleepy, don't use your butt warmer. For people who are impulsive, put your cell phone in the back seat or in your trunk where you just can't reach it.
Very good.
Don't eat and drink. Eating and drinking is pretty much just as bad as using a phone at times.
Mhm.
Use an alternative cognition, an alternative thought for your road rage. For example, for me, when I see a lousy driver, instead of thinking I need to punish them, I just think, I bet my insurance rates are lower than yours. Because I have a safe, clean driving record. And when I see
Wow.
someone who's like passing me, I like to be all self-righteous.
But does that help you vent out the angry feelings that you have?
Yeah, totally. I'm like, yeah, they're going to get theirs with their progressive bill.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
finally, here's a tip for you and me. Use our kids as watchdogs.
In what way? What do you mean?
Well, my kids know that it's really unsafe to use a cell phone. If I pick up my cell phone when they're in the
Got it.
car, they are gonna let me have it.
Okay.
So, yeah, things like that. I mean, be careful with that one because kids love to call out their parents for being wrong.
Right.
But,
Sure.
instead of being distracted by them, use their evil propensities to make us safer.
Very good.
Okay,
So, Julie, here's what we're going to do
what are we going to do?
So what we're going to do is, number one, we're not going to touch or otherwise look at our cell phones while we're driving,
Okay.
while we're moving. I think we should also just not touch or look at them while we're sitting still too.
Okay.
Use only.
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. Once the
Right.
key's in the ignition, I think.
Well, yeah, and to follow the rule of the law there. And then two, well, you can also use your cell phones hands free. So if you can operate your cell phone that way, more power to you. Number two, we're not going to follow too closely. We're actually going to use the 2-second rule,
Okay.
which basically says that you have to leave 2 seconds of space at least between you and the car in front of you. And that's what that means is you let the car in front of you pass some fixed point like a billboard or a street sign.
I think we get it.
You get it? Okay.
People can Google it.
Yeah, go Google it. Google the 2-second rule. All right. And number three is we're not going to speed unless we have to keep up with traffic.
Okay.
Is that cool?
I'm
you're gonna
gonna
add two
try
other
not to
things?
speed at all. Oh yeah, and I'm not gonna drive on curbs. And I forget the other thing I was gonna do. So.
Oh no, you actually didn't say you were going to do anything else. It was the driving up on curbs.
Oh yeah.
And then you were like, Jason can just go jump in a lake.
Yeah, he can.
He can. He's done it.
What's gonna be hardest for you?
What's going to be hardest for me is, I think, not touching or looking at my cell phone because I'm not good with the voice control of it, and sometimes I really want to find some other song, and yeah, that's hard. And I'm admitting to the fact that I touch my cell phone while I'm driving, which is just terrible, and I feel really guilty about it.
Oh, ditto. I know I'm so embarrassed to say that out loud, but it's true. I do it too.
Well, you're probably the same as millions of other people listening to this podcast.
Oh, guys, we gotta stop this. Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be the hardest thing for me. What
Okay,
about
let's
you?
go. Yeah, same.
The cell phone
Totally
too?
the same. Same
Okay, cool.
cell phone for sure. Okay, well, let's go save some lives while our listeners listen to the pleasure kills.
All right. See you later, Julie.
Bye.
Bye.
In Pittsburgh, I learned to get really good at the aggressive merge. My signal's been on. There is technically a gap, so I drive a very small car, and I know it will fit in between the two cars next to me. I'm just not so sure that they're prepared for another car in that tiny bit of space they've left. That's probably not the safest of driving habits.
The thing that's really drives me crazy is when people change lanes, even when there is so fast, and even when there is traffic is heavy, that doesn't get them anywhere. But it just feels that they are restless without accomplishing anything. So yeah, that's my biggest peeve.
Every time I see a policeman, I buckle it up. When I think of it, I buckle it up. And whenever I have a passenger, all my passengers are better than me at that. Their seatbelts were an option when I learned to drive.
There are designated crosswalks, and sometimes cars will stop right in the middle of this 40-mile-an-hour road to let someone cross the street, and they're going to get rear-ended. It makes me so mad. And when people drive too slow, slower than the speed limit. I got places to go, people. Sightsee on your own time.
Thank you, Sandlin, Kieran, Bill, and Kendra.
So, hey, Julie, welcome back. Hey, listeners, how are the pleasure kills? Hope you like them.
Before we get into that,
Wait, get into how much we like the pleasure kills?
Yes, I love the pleasure kills. And you know what else I love? Rumble marketing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a small business and I know how important it is to spend some time thinking about the business, what brand message you want to send, investing thought, and being really planful so that you can be successful. Rumble marketing can help you do all that. It's time.
That was really great. I think all of our listeners are now going to give Rumble Marketing a call. Congratulations, Rumble Marketing.
Mention that you heard from us, please.
Right. And what will happen?
Then
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure. Maybe
I don't
something,
know.
you know what? Maybe something bad would happen. So listeners, forget what we just said. Don't mention that it was from us.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, fair?
Fair.
So Julie, over the last 2 weeks, we practiced saving lives by not driving over the speed limit, not touching or looking at our cell phones. And what was the last one?
Not driving on curbs?
Oh, what
and
was
not
the second to last
speeding.
one? What?
Not speeding?
No, I already said that. Come on.
Oh.
No,
it
it's
just comes so naturally to me now.
right. It's
Just kidding.
it's
2-second rule.
Yes, the 2 second rule. So how did it go for you?
It was interesting. It was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really, really, really hard. You know,
But
Jason.
you're already driving slow in the middle lane.
I know.
So what could be hard about this?
Oh man, I didn't realize how distracted I was before. And okay, so a few years ago, I got in a pretty serious accident.
Was that when that car ran over your foot?
No, that is a thing that happened to me. Also.
Oh wait, was it that time that you got your thumb?
Okay,
Like-
this is going to take 10 minutes if you do all of these. And for like, I don't know, 6 months afterwards, I was like the slowest driver on earth because
Oh.
I was just super scared.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, well, I'll send you a blog post about it.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyway, I felt kind of like that again. I don't know. For me, the thing that was hardest, of course, was what we had predicted, which was using the cell phones or not using
Right.
them, because I kept getting in the car, starting it up, and then driving without setting up what podcast I wanted to listen to.
Right.
And so then I had to pull off the road and like park and
Yeah.
set up everything and then go back on the road. And
Yeah.
by the second week, I was doing that okay. So it was just like training myself.
Right, sure.
And I mean, we had to do that before we had smartphones, when we just had function phones or feature phones, I mean.
Right,
That's how
but
we
there
did
were
it.
no podcasts to listen to.
Well, yeah, good point.
Okay.
So that was like one thing. In general, when I was driving like super safe, the speed limit, I could tell that I was probably annoying everybody else
Really?
a little bit, but it was a combination of being frustrated, like wanting to go faster, and feeling really self-righteous. Like feeling like,
That's awesome.
oh, well, all you people who just have to speed, where
Very
are you going
smug,
who's
right.
so fast? Oh, I
Saving
was
your
so
26
smug.
seconds today, buddy.
Exactly, but
Good
at
for
the
you.
same time that I felt like I was like, oh, slow clap.
You should follow the station wagon, buddy.
But at the same time I was doing that, I still really wanted to speed. I was like, oh, but I do want to get to work faster, which is crazy. First of all, it's work. And second of all, I'm not going to get there any faster. And I got there. I mean, my commute was the same amount of time the last couple of weeks that it usually is. And wait, I had
So what about the curb thing?
I didn't hit any curbs.
Did you want to?
No.
Like, were you really jonesing for that?
I never actually want to hit curbs, but I was especially mindful of it
Uh-huh.
because I was just mindful of my driving in general, which is good. That's the opposite of distractedness, right?
Right.
Mindful.
Yeah.
There was a couple times where I didn't want to pull over and put on podcasts, so I had to just listen to radio, and that was kind of fun.
Ah!
The worst thing is, I think I might have made other people less safe by being so rigidly following the speed limit. I know last time
Wait a
you said,
second. So you said that you were going to follow the speed limit, and I said I was going to keep up with traffic if needed.
yeah, I probably should have just kept up with traffic. But I was afraid when I would use that as an excuse to just speed.
Uh-huh. So you felt you were putting other people at risk from running into you because you were
Not
just in the
necessarily
way?
running into me, but from people would have to change lanes to get around me.
Right.
But I kept forgetting to also not be in the middle lane, but I did get better at that. I definitely got better at that pet peeve. You're
That's
welcome,
good.
everybody. But still, people had to like shift around me and go into
Right.
different lanes, and that's
Sure.
the kind of thing where accidents happen.
Oh, absolutely right. Absolutely.
I was so afraid I would get in an accident during these 2 weeks and just feel like a big doofus and be like, during my safe driving
Right.
episode, I broke my clean driving record.
Did you do the 2-second rule too?
Yes, I did.
So how'd that go?
That was no problem when I wasn't speeding.
Oh my God. Wait, you just said that you followed the speed limit the
Yeah,
whole
I mean,
time.
that's what I mean. Like during these 2 weeks of not
Oh,
speeding.
okay.
But did you think you were going to like catch me out?
Yeah.
and lie?
You gotta
I'm way
up,
more obvious
you
than
gotta
that.
stay up pretty late to catch you out at night.
I wish I was that sneaky.
For me, let me think. The
I'll let you.
Let me. So that thing that, so first of all, let me just mirror what you said. The feeling
Okay.
of smugness and superiority.
Yeah.
I totally felt that.
Yes.
It was really interesting. Like the fact that I wasn't touching or looking at my cell phone, or that I was maintaining that distance, and just the fact that I was doing these things to be safer.
Oh, did you? I found myself like, if I saw someone else looking at their phone, being like, oh, God, can't believe.
No, because I keep my eye on the road.
Oh no, I was definitely checking out everyone else to see how much better I was than them.
Right, totally. So it's funny though. I did feel that smugness. So listeners, I recommend this one if you want to get some smug feelings. Totally. Yeah. More smug than even driving a Prius, I think. And then the other thing that you said about truly not feeling distracted. Yeah, I felt that too. It felt really almost calming.
Really?
Well, yeah, driving the speed limit as much as possible and having that 2-second rule, it does make me mindful, as you said too, about, just just how wrong it is to go really close to somebody or go over the speed limit when really you don't need to keep up with traffic. But yeah, I mean, on my commutes, I see people just really tailgating at 70 miles an hour.
Oh, it's so scary.
It's so scary to me. So I really like doing that 2 seconds or more rule. It may have made some people mad, but if they were mad, they could go around me, whatever. It's not like I was slowing down. I was still keeping up with traffic doing that.
Right.
Yeah, so I really like that. And having that 2 seconds there was calming for me because I didn't have to worry about slamming on my brakes at all.
What about your carpool buddies? How do they deal with
Well,
you?
Kieran is a really good driver, and he drives the speed limit and leaves plenty of room all the time.
Okay.
And he doesn't look at his cell phone. He has none of these bad habits. Also, the cell phone thing. Yeah, so I figured out how to use Beyond Pod, which is the podcatcher I like them a lot. So I figured out you can set up a playlist before.
Yeah.
So you get several podcasts going. Or you can just listen to this one over and over and over again. So I did that, and then I have that awesome Bluetooth headset that Mom got like for my birthday a few years ago. They've lasted forever. It was awesome. Thanks, Mom.
Wait, you get birthday presents from Mom and Dad?
Yeah, still, yeah. Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I'll ask Dad to send you some nice watches. When we get off, right as soon as we get off this podcast.
I'm just kidding, Mom and Dad. You are extremely generous. It's part of our shtick. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so that was really cool because I got to use those headphones to use my phone hands-free, which I didn't really need to use it. I set my stuff up before.
I thought you were saying I got to use my phone hands. And I was imagining a cartoon Marc with hands.
No, it's not like Trump with his little fingers or whatever. No. So, and then the last one of speeding or not speeding. What's so funny?
Sorry, I'm still thinking about you with phone hands.
Oh, God. They would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right? But then how would I dial if both of my hands were phones?
With your chin.
With my chin, right. Yeah, that'd be tricky. With the tip of my nose.
Yeah.
Or the voice recognition software.
Oh,
okay,
right.
Google. So let's see. What was I just going to say? Oh, yeah. So I tried to drive the speed limit whenever I could, except to keep up in traffic. And most of the time, I'm totally able to drive the speed limit with no problems. It's only during the commute on I-90. I-5 is too backed up all the time.
Oh, right. Yeah, you
to
can't
actually
go
even
fast
go fast.
there.
Right. But I-90, it's not bottlenecked once you pass like Mercer Island and head towards Snoqualmie. So there, I have to keep up with traffic because it gets going really fast. And if you don't, you just feel like you are the slowest car on the road and somebody's going to rear end you.
So
I guess I keep mentioning that. Kendra got rear-ended like that a while back, a few years ago, and she's still really paranoid that other people are going to do that. So I've kind of taken some of that on as well, that people just rear-end other people all the time.
They do, and you're completely
what's the
out of
statistic?
control. I don't know. All the time.
Oh, all the time.
All
Most
the
of
time that there are rear endings.
Got it.
Yeah, well, I work on a military base, and
You do?
people are extremely safe. It's kind of crazy. I've never been around so many safe drivers, but then every once in a while there'll be just one renegade. But yeah, it's kind of like going from Mayberry to, I don't know, some future land where the Terminator is. When I leave the military base and go out on the highway, all of a sudden it's like, ah!
So why are they so safe? Is it because they're worried about consequences or because everyone is very used to following policy?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both of those. One, everyone's, I mean, in general, if you work for the military, you tend to be good at following rules.
Okay.
So I think that's part of it. But also, there's a lot of foot traffic. I mean, there's troops around constantly.
Right.
And so we just have to be really careful. And
Right.
especially if they're in exercises and things like that or doing PT, you just got to be super duper careful. But I think a lot of it is just rule abiding and not wanting to get in trouble, and there's military police all over the place. So I know some people just get in trouble all the time if they use their cell phones on base. Like even before this, I would never touch my phone on base while I'm driving.
Oh wow, okay,
just because of the fear of getting in trouble, but also because I do not want to be the un-American yucky guy who runs over some poor troop while they're doing their PT. Would that be horrible?
That would be pretty bad.
What a way to go.
That's awful.
So yeah.
Glad you're keeping it together there. So Julie, what do you think? I mean, was this successful for you? What did you learn about yourself?
Man, I learned I'm probably using my phone way more than I even realized. Just the fact that even during this 2 weeks, when I was so set on not doing it, I still found myself like reaching for it. It's like, what do I possibly need my phone for? I mean, logically, when I'm not in my car, I knew this is ridiculous. But the fact that this was hard tells me I still have a lot of work to do. I'm going to try to keep up with the challenge longer.
Yeah.
In terms of the speeding, I'm going to go back to following my 10 mile per hour thing and following traffic. I am going to be better about not being in the middle lane because I didn't even know that was a problem before I started this episode, like I talked about last time. And just in general, being more mindful of it. I don't know. I think I've got a ways to go.
Hey, did you take in Indy when you were learning how to drive? Did you take driver's ed through like the AA driver's ed?
Yeah, same place you guys did.
Right. And so did you also have to watch the Ohio State Patrol movies?
Yep.
About like the horrific accident scenes and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they ever show you one about what would happen if you were driving in the middle lane, Julie?
I don't remember that one. I must have been sick that day.
You must have been sick. Yeah, we'll have to dig that up.
I'm guessing it was death.
Right. Yeah, they showed us one about like this school bus filled with children.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that one too? Ugh. What is the point? Anyway, we digress. Julie, I learned that I really like the 2-second rule and driving the speed limit. And I'm going to try to figure out more things to do with my phone hands-free or more ways to control it hands-free because I found that sense of relaxation by not being distracted was really great.
It was. But I have to tell you, there was a negative consequence of us doing this episode.
What?
I started to realize just how bad all drivers are. And Jason and I went on a really long bike ride. And for part of it, we were on a relatively busy road down here that has a bike lane, but also lots of drivers.
Uh-huh.
And I was pretty much freaking out while we were biking. And what's usually a really relaxing activity for me was not fun at all because I kept thinking just one of these vehicles needs to be looking at their cell phone and hit one of us. And we're both out together. The children will be left parentless.
God. That's awful.
And I'm like, oh, well, when we both die, the babysitter will have to look, that kind of.
Right.
And my mind went there. It was bad.
Well, yeah, it's so interesting, but it's going to make us better defensive drivers, I think, to
For sure.
realize that everybody else on the road sucks because we are so superior now.
Smug.
That's exactly right. But maybe one of our future episodes, we should give up using our cell phones for 2 weeks. Like actually do what you said in the first half of this, where we put our cell phones like in the backseat or the trunk for driving. I know. We'll talk about it. So, okay. Julie, I would totally recommend this to anybody.
I agree. And if you want to hear other great ideas, go to wagonpod.com where you can listen to our other shows, view the show notes, and subscribe to our podcast.
We don't actually have other shows, Julie. They can listen to other episodes.
Smug.
I'm just saying, can you do
it? You can connect with us on the Facebook at the Station Wagon Podcast and Twitter at WagonPod.
That's right. And share us with your social media friends like Mr. Steve Pennington Jr. did. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. That's awesome. It's a great way to get new listeners. And also leaving iTunes reviews is great too.
Yeah, tell your friends. Or you can email us your suggestions at wagonpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. Thank you to the Pleasure Kills for the use of the song Modern Problems.
You did great, Pleasure Kills.
And thank you to Rumble Marketing for paying the bills.
Thanks,
and
Rumble Marketing.
to our wonderful spouses and adorable children for putting up with us and helping make this show happen.
Thank you, adorable children and adorable spouses.
And thanks to Taylor Sikorsky for helping edit the episode.
You done good, Taylor.
She doesn't need your validation. She knows she's good.
Oh, very good.
But I'm sure it doesn't help her.
Before we park the station wagon back in its carport,
What are you doing?
let me tell you what we're going to be giving up next time on the
Interrupting.
station. Hey, that was really good. I saw what you did there. Talk to you later, Julie. No, I just mean the.
I mean, when you say
gross-
growth, do you mean hoof?
Well, I didn't say growth.
I didn't think you said growth. Did I say growth?
I think you did.